what's going on? Welcome back to the MashanddDrum Whiskey Room on a very, very special Whiskey Wednesday night. I know I say that every Wednesday, but tonight really is special because tonight MashanddDrum is going to officially rank my top ryes for 2023. That's right. We will not only taste through 13 different ryes that I really, really love this year, but also rank them and figure out which one exactly will get my number one spot. Will it be the Sagamore 8-year like I predicted, or will something else sneak in and be my favorite as well? We'll see what happens. Welcome in tonight. As I said, we have 13 different drams we're going to be tasting. I have the first 6 right here. We'll do the next 7 over there. I think what I'm going to do is probably pick my top 2 from each of the groupings and then start ranking them that way. So just to kind of make it a little bit easier on myself. I'm going to be taking some small sips, really just trying to get the feel for each and every rye whiskey, the finish, texture, everything I could kind of pull out from these different rye whiskeys. But yeah, it's happening. Taking a little break from Blendageddon tonight. My guest judge couldn't make it, so I'm going to probably push that. Hopefully till next week we get that that last semifinal round done. But I figured while in between, let's do these top 10 ryes. So let's see what we got here. We have Roy R does cocktails. What's up, Roy? Sandy Chima is here. Truman in the house. So many good ryes this year. Excited for this one. Couldn't agree more, Truman. Bo's Wine Guys here. Russ L. 96 Milliman, what's going on? Warren Smith, can't wait to see what 2024 brings. It's going to be tough because, contrary to some folks' opinions, I think 2023 was a fantastic year in American whiskey. So many good American whiskeys came out. Maybe not a great year for prices because prices just kept going up, it seems. But as far as quality of whiskeys, age statements coming back, a lot more unique offerings. I think it was a good year, to be honest. Let's see here. Warren Smith, Adam Hinson, what's going on, buddy? James Lay in the house, what's going on? Daniel Sutherland, cheers. Happy third day of Christmas. That is right. Happy, Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope everybody had a great Christmas. I certainly did. It was nuts for a little while, for 3 days straight. Cooking all 3 days. Lasagna, meatballs, pasta, filet mignon, lobster tail. I was busy. I was busy for 3 days, but it was so much fun. Good to hang out with the family, share some good food and good spirits. Always a good time. Proceed rooting for the M10, but it's likely to be one of the bottom performers. We'll see how it goes. Roscoe P. Coltrane is here. Sandy Chima says, let's go. Adam F. is here. Shauna Marie D in the house. What's going on, Shauna? Jeff Perkins is here. What's going on? Let's see. Who else? Malore for the win says, cheers, all this rye show not making me miss my old Overhaul 11 from last year. Could see that. I wasn't a big fan of that one, but, it did open up a little bit nicely. So I will give it that. James Lay. Dave Markowski's here. Roger Reese. JG, what's up, buddy? Cool Running is here. Lewis. Dean Cruz is here. Corn and Whiskey. Jeff W. Dave Hackfield. Cave Dwellers here. Slapshot in the house. Prescription Bourbon. What's up, you legend? Nice to see you. Peter White is here. Bearded Bourbon. Just Sells in the house. Hope you had a good Christmas too, man. Cheers, M&J Army from Ben Drammond. Cheers. Have Jeepo Whiskey's here. Matt Luna. Tyler S. Smith. And way more people coming in. We got Bruzel's here. 13 bottle blinds. This is my kind of stream. Usually end up feeling good by the time I get to the end of these, but I have to drink the full samples. Yes. Great to see you, Bruzel, man. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Outside the star, try not to trip. Mr. Grinch may have set you up. He most probably certainly did. Going with the Sag 8 or Overholt. Interesting. Okay. I think one that's we'll go through the bottles here, each and every one that I have in the that I have included tonight. We have Pop 'em Don't Watch 'em is here. What's going on, Troy? Nice to see you. Major Zero in the house. Saucy Shane, I saw. Karen B. Ford. Giselle's Boston kicking off the night with a great super chat. I was expecting the stream to start with the Grinch in the chair. Yeah, no more Grinch in the chair. Yeah, he had his time. Oh man, Roscoe P. Coltrane, Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye. Now I'm curious how that's going to do tonight, because remember, they are single barrels. The original single barrel that I got of that bottle wasn't great. Let's see here. So I do have a different single barrel in here, so we'll see if it does any better. We'll see how that works out. Uncle Ron in the house. What's going on? This should be great. Some damn good rides out there. Absolutely, Uncle Ron. Nice to see you, buddy. Joe Kokoska here, new Patreon. Love a good ride. Fellow C-Bus guy, too. Joe, what's going on, my man? Cheers from C-Bus. Terrence Walker and a bunch of other people coming in. Jason C. proved that the Grinch was real. Yes, I'm thinking that. All right, guys. So obviously I want to get into this tonight because it's a lot of tasting. I got to take a lot of water breaks, just keep myself hydrated. I drank a ton of water here in the meantime before I started the stream tonight, just to kind of get through it. So a lot of people say, oh, it's a lot to drink in one night, but I do take little sips. I feel like 13 ryes I'll be able to take. Some of these are a little bit lower proof than others. It's not like they're all at cask strength. So I feel like I've trained for this. So R2 Bourbon 2. So here we go. Let's take a look at the list of my top ryes this year, and we'll go through my criteria. All right. So because I always want to make this very clear to everyone. As far as how this works, why I chose the bottles I chose, and why you might not see some other popular bottles that people are putting into the mix, even though I may have reviewed them. So here we go. If you look on the that side of the screen right there, here are my favorite ryes of 2024, and these are unranked, completely unranked. So this is just the list, no numbers put to them. That's what we're doing tonight. Michter's 10-year single barrel, Hard Truth Sweet Mash Rye, Corbin Cash 7-year cask strength, the Sagamore Spirit 8-year rye, the Angel's Envy cask strength rye, the Virtue Spirits Essence Rye single barrel number 2, Jack Daniel's twice barreled rye, Michter's Toasted barrel proof rye, Old Overholt 10-year cask strength rye, Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye, the Old Ezra 7-year cask strength rye, or foolproof rye. I think it says foolproof on the bottle. The Buzzard's Roost cigar rye, and the Bardstown Bourbon Company Origin Series rye whiskey. So that is the list of 13 that I've selected. Now, generally, when I talk about these ryes, my criteria is like this, or generally any top list I do. I don't include bottles or whiskeys off of samples. So a lot of people are going to ask me already, why isn't the Parker's Heritage in there? Because I didn't get a bottle of it. I reviewed a sample of it. I was lucky to do a sample of it, taste it, thought it was great. It probably would have done really well in this list, but I did not get a bottle of the Parker's Heritage. I just couldn't get my hands on one, and the secondary market prices were really, really high for it. So I just kind of skipped that one. Any other ryes that... Yeah, Thomas H. Handy rye, Sazerac rye. I don't get any BTAC, so there's no way that's making it into the mix. So if you're asking me how come there's no Thomas H. Handy or anything like that, I don't get BTAC ever. And oh, low. What is going on with the... Check my internets. Oh, there we go. My internet was falling out. Okay, that should be better. All right, there we go. He froze freezing. Yeah, sorry guys. My internet wire was that little click part that's on the Ethernet cable, that's on the top of the Ethernet wire that's supposed to click it in? Well, on my Ethernet cable, it fell off. So I have a new one now. And it's just like, it keeps sliding out of there until I get the new one. So, oh man, no dial up. I got the fast stuff going on. Yeah, the Grinch definitely scammed me. So yeah, so a few of these bottles that people are going to ask why they didn't make it to my top. That's why. If I don't get a bottle of it, it does not make it to any of my top 10 lists. Because I feel like if I didn't get a chance to sit down with the bottle, have a few pours from it, experience it, I feel like it's kind of I don't know. I'm kind of giving you like a false narrative. It's like, yeah, I can have a sample of Tom H. Handy and say it's the best thing I've ever had. But if I can't blind it against other bottles, I don't feel like it's a fair shake to the other bottles. So, and while I could sit here and tell you that the Parker's Heritage Rye was really good, I just wasn't lucky enough to get one. Like I said, the BTAC couldn't get those, and I'm trying to think if at Brussels I stream on Wi-Fi just to keep it entertaining. That is entertaining. I like to live dangerously. Yeah, hit the like button while you guys are here. We're gonna get into this in a little bit. Let's see here. Let's see. Hey, what's up, dude? Is here. All technical turns. You got to click the clickety thing. Yeah, that's the thing, the clickety thing. Let's see here. What else? I'm trying to think if there are any other rides that I might have missed out on that made some other folks' lists. I think those are kind of the main ones that people are going to ask me about, to be honest. So, yeah. Roman Carter says Handy is solid. Handy is a solid rye every year. I'm never blown away by Thomas H. Handy. I always think they're really good ryes. But honestly, it's like one of those things where, yeah, I wish I could have more, but a couple of bottles I did get here towards the end of the year, I'm really happy I did get, which was the Old Overholt Cask Strength 10-year, which I thought was really glad to get. 13th Colony Rye, Bourgogne guy. I only got a store pick of that one, and it's like 140 something proof. Yeah, I could probably put that one in, but being a store pick and not getting the other one, I don't think it's going to make it. The 13 Colony Double Oak Bourbon will surely probably make an appearance in my top 10 this year because I did get a bottle of that, so we'll see how that happens. New Riff Balboa. Oh, that's the other thing too. I missed out on the Middle West here. The Pumpernickel Rye, which I love. The ported one. You would think I wouldn't miss out on that being in Columbus, but it released while I was away, unfortunately. And that happens a lot too. And New Riff. New Riff always releases great ryes that I just never get a chance to pick up because they don't release here on time. And the ones that do release that are really unique, only at the distillery, they sell out and I can't get there. So those are really kind of the missed opportunities for me, unfortunately. But either that, we have 13 incredible ryes that I got to taste this year. We're about to taste. So let's do this here. Yeah, we're going to. And I'm actually really excited because here in January, in a few weeks, we'll be down in Atlanta at 13 Colony picking a barrel. It's either going to be a bourbon or a rye. We'll see which one wows us more. But we're looking forward to getting down there and seeing what they have to offer. So again, guys, that's the list of ryes there on the side of the screen that we are tasting through tonight. All blind, 13 of them, and we'll see which one wins out. Like I said, I'm going to kind of pick my top two from each grouping. We'll have 2 groupings total. I'll pick my top 2. Maybe my top 3 actually from the let's see, that one is that next one has 7. I'll pick my top 2 here. I'll pick my top 3 over there, and kind of put those head to head, and then we'll kind of mess with the others and see where we rank them. So really, I just really care about the top 5. The rest will kind of fall into place as we go. So there it is. So let's and in the meantime, while I'm tasting through all these, you guys, throw in some Q&A questions, whatever you guys want to ask me. I'll try to keep up with the chat. Any super chats, may help me kind of identify those as well, or try to highlight me as much as you can. Actually, let me pop out the chat here from YouTube so I can kind of keep an eye on the chat here. All right, perfect. It's a little bit easier to see everything than it is on StreamYard. So let me do that. So yeah, we'll do a little Q&A as I'm tasting through these. In the meantime, let's put on a nice little slow jam, and we will go from there. All right. So as I mentioned, All blind samples here. The Grinch does have the answers. And real quick, guys, before I do get into this, I really do, and I know I keep saying it, I keep reiterating it, but really, thank you so much for all the positive support I got from the Advent Calendar series that I did. First one I ever did, and since starting the channel in 2018, and I think the support was about 99% positive. So yeah, it was so much fun. But now everyone's like, oh, do it next year again. I'm like, here we go. So we'll kind of do the same thing next year. Maybe I'll do a different spin. I'm thinking next year what I'll do is I'll actually ask my patrons to send me blind samples of stuff instead of my own collection. This way they are really, really blind. Because I feel like when I'm, choosing stuff from my own collection, I could kind of look around and maybe guess. But when it's completely blind coming from patrons and putting a value to something, I think that makes it even more entertaining and more has some more truth to it. So yeah, that's going to happen. So let's see here. We have ASMR Whiskey is the house. ASMR Whiskey is here. Nice to see you as well. Kevin Zachary. I would like to see a JT Brewster and Jason C collab. There you go. It was awesome. I sent you a sample, probably turkey. I was impressed on how good you're getting at blinds. Matt Manus 2024. Yeah, I did pretty good. What day are you in Americus for the 13th pick? I'll be there January 18th, Bruzel. January 18th we'll be there. Having a Surly Darkness 2023 Agent Parker's Heavy Char. Beats Most Goose Island. Oh, very cool. That sounds delicious, man. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up. Appreciate that. All right. James SoCal, thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. Appreciate that as well. Jason, what laser code do you have on your C923? Apparently they're a batch issue. Laser code starting with A223 is significantly better. I would have to look. I could remind me to do that later, Mike, because I have to go over there to get the bottle. So best admin on Whiskey Tube. Thank you so much. Have you had a hazmat JD single barrel proof rye yet? Yes, I have, Cody, for sure. For sure. Love the Grinch on how much would I pay? Yeah. Be Kind says Old Overholt is truly under the radar. Actually, I'm just on an hour and a half from there, but I'll be heading to New York the 15th and from there to California the 18th. Damn, Bruzel. We'll have to do something together soon, man. Maybe we can do a collab here at some point in 2024. I definitely want to do some more collabs. I think it'll be a lot of fun. All right, let's get into this tasting here, guys. Let me unclick that. Bruzel. All right. Again, and also real quick before I forget, on the top of the chat, I have pinned a message. If anybody wants to donate a bottle for the finals of Blended Get In, where we do our annual St. Jude Children's Hospital charity fundraiser, you can fill out that form if there's anything you want to donate, and I will start accumulating all that information from everybody. Any bottle or any experience if you want. It's not mandatory. This is completely up to you guys. It's just if you feel like donating, then please do. Every little bottle helps and helps raise more money for the kids. This year, I'll be doing some money to St. Jude's Children's Hospital and some to Nationwide Children's Hospital here locally in Columbus. St. Jude's gets a ton of money each and every year, and I think some other children's hospitals don't get as much funding. So I do want to help out something local here as well. So I think that'll be good. So here we go. All right. I'm stretching like I'm about to go into a fight or something, but all right, here we go. All right, like I said, guys, if you have, hey, what's up, Silas Murray? If you guys are, again, if you guys have a, so Forlorn Hope Driftless. So all I have are Driftless picks that I did. I don't have any of the regular rye whiskeys from Driftless. That's the reason why they're not in here. But if I had to put some Driftless Glen single barrel picks in here, it would probably be a top 5 pour. So do not discount how good those Driftless picks are. I picked, 7 or 8 now? Master Journey Army, I should say. How many donuts have we done? We've done quite a bit. So I know how good those Driftlets donuts are. We just released 2 more ryes not that long ago, plus a bourbon on top of it. So, all right, let's go to the first one here, guys. Will be trouble when there are single barrel select ryes from Wild Turkey. Dude, I cannot wait for those. I cannot wait for those single barrel. I don't know if you guys heard the news, but Wild Turkey is going to be doing single barrel ryes again. As far as picks go, and I couldn't be more excited. Have Jeep Will Whiskey in the house. I hear the Rocky music. That looks daunting and delicious at the same time. It does. Thanks for the super chat, man. And Terrence Walker with the super sticker. Thank you so much. Wayne Smith, have you ever tried St. Augustine bourbon? I've had a couple, but in the early stages, I was not a fan of them in the early stages. I know that it's made in Florida, and for some reason, it tasted like Florida. I know that sounds weird, but it did. I've heard their stuff has gotten a lot better, and I just haven't gotten a chance to try anything new from them. Favorite rise of 2024. Jason, bring out his crystal ball tonight. You know, I'm always hoping for a Booker's Rye, an Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Rye I'm always hoping for. So this is a great nose. It's actually kind of in between spicy and sweet. It's got a little bit of both. It's nice. Master and Drum, do you think Old Carter Batch 14 will make your top 10 this year? I don't know. It's close. It could. It could, but there have been so many good bourbons this year. I'm not sure how it's going to do. All right. First dram of the night, guys. Cheers. Thanks for hanging out. Like, subscribe. Let's do this. Here we go. Super sweet rye. Super sweet. Very vanilla. This is a Kentucky rye, man. This is like super sweet. Caramel focus, a little bit of almond there. That's nice. One more sip of this one. I don't think there's a high proof here. This is sweet and easy and pretty delicious. Nice little spice on the end. That is a very, very crushable rye whiskey right there. We wanted ECBP rye, and they gave us EC toasted rye. Yeah, William Wiley. It's actually a good point. We all wanted the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof rye, and they gave us a toasted rye. It's all right. It's over toasted. Old Carter. Oh, yeah. Old Carter ryes, I just don't get anymore. I can't get them. By the time I get to Kentucky, they're all gone. So that's the reason why you don't see any of those in here. And one other rye that people were asking me about are the Found North ryes. I got samples of those this year, and some of them were really good. I have no doubt one of those probably could have made the list tonight, but I just didn't get bottles, unfortunately. By the time I got to it, they sold out. So that actually one is on me, because I probably could have gotten them, and I just, I'm just like doing a million things. It's tough. I'm going to need some more help this year, like people reminding me when stuff drops. Same juice, different label. What is the best Old Forester bourbon / rye? What is the best Old Forester bourbon / rye? So this might be an unpopular opinion, and I actually got into this with David Jennings the other night, Rare Bird. He told me, and I agreed with him, that Old Forester 19... Ooh, this smells great. What the hell is that? That Old Forester 1920 has kind of fallen out of favor with him. And Old Forester 1920 has always been just my go-to for Old Forester stuff. The 100 proof Old Forester, the signature, I think is a great... I would put Jack Daniel's Bonnet Rye up against any... Oh, I should have included that in there tonight. I just don't think the proof would hold up, but it is pretty good. Yeah, Old Forester 100, I think rye for the value, but some of those single barrel picks could be great. You just don't see them often enough. Ray Crawford with the super chat. Would love to see your top 4 ryes of the past 3 years. Go head to head. Your Rye Whiskey of the Year video is my favorite. Let's go. Love it, Ray. All right. We're going. Yeah, Old Forester 100 proof is probably the best. I mean, it's really the only rye they have except the single barrel ryes. But as far as bourbon goes, 1920 used to have this cherry chocolate note and oak that I loved, and now it's gone full banana. Full banana. I know Old Forester has a banana note, but 1920 never had that much emphasis of a banana note in it until very recently. Probably going back to last year. I just don't know why that is. And I just find myself enjoying it less than I used to. I don't know. You guys let me know in the chat. Do you kind of feel the same way? Are you really not gearing towards 1920 too much anymore? I honestly enjoy 1910, I think, above everything. But if I want like classic bourbon, I go Signature, or I also go a very underrated bottle in the Whiskey Row series, which is a Bottled and Bond, which is really good. Now, it's more expensive than like, you know, your Evan Williams Bottled and Bond and some others out there, but I think it's a highly underrated Bottled and Bond bourbon. But 1920 to me, I think it's kind of lost its luster a little bit. And now I usually go for that or 1910. So you guys let me know. I still have a half in a Alfredo Jimenez. Gwen Stefani must be the match to the Old Forester now. That's right. Bananas. Well played, sir. Pride of Anderson County blows every other 2023 rye away. Nothing comes close, in my opinion. Yeah, I didn't get that one. This is more herbal. It's more concentrated as well, for sure. Buffalo Bourbon Enthusiast says, just getting into ryes and have 3 on your list. Victor's 10-year, Victor's Toasted is awesome. I got 2 bottles. And JD Twice Barreled, I have a Starlight Double Oak that is just wild. Yeah, Starlight has some crazy ryes as well, for sure. Love the 1897, very underrated. Has a surprising amount of spice. B&B is great as well. Yep, been drinking 4 Score Solid. DDDDD. That one is very good. It's super concentrated. A lot more oak, a lot more sweetness. I definitely like it over the first one. There's like this toasted marshmallow note in it. I wonder if that's the Michter's Toasted. I'm not sure what that one is. Yeah, that one's good. That one's really nice. I know you've already talking about your Advent, but I was seriously bummed the EC Barrel Proof wasn't last. Liza Greg Barrel Proof wasn't last. Yeah, I mean, again, it was my mom and Kim. You know, they just like randomly picked bottles. I didn't really think they thought like, hey, on the 25th, let's pick a really special bottle. You know, I don't think that's where their head was at. Let's see. Rittenhouse Rye. Oh, yeah, and Rittenhouse Rye did some incredible picks. If anyone got their hands on the Rittenhouse Rye picks this year, some of those were really good. Third one here. Man, this is so lemony. This is all lemon. Lemon, lime. This is like straight up Sprite in a glass. Is Statesman really any good? I've heard so many mixed reviews on Statesman. I reviewed it, I think, either just this past year or the year before. I didn't think it was anything great, but I didn't think it was anything bad either. I thought it was just a good, solid bourbon. I've heard people say it was disgusting. Some people say it's like the best thing that Old Forester makes. I didn't really find that either way. I just thought it was a good middle-of-the-road bourbon. Honestly, I'd rather drink 1910 or save the money and drink Old Forester Signature, to be honest. Listen, you have the new barrel rye, the blend of MGP, Tennessee, and Canadian. Yes, I did. I got a sample of that one. Actually, it's right here. This rye, this will probably be an honorable mention because I only got a sample of it, and it is freaking delicious. That is so good. That's a really good rye, for sure. So if anyone got that one, that's a rye that definitely belongs in the conversation this year. OHLQ just dropped a couple more barrels of Rittenhouse for sitting on the shelf. Oh, JH? Yeah, I got to go find those. Wow. It is so herbal, orange, lemon. I'm literally like picking up like a hint of like maybe because I was cooking all weekend. I'm literally getting like these like almost like a basil, rosemary, like very savory flavors in that third one. That is a an herbal rye lovers rye whiskey right there. Not really sure which one that is, but it's good. It's different. Rooting for Sagamore. Haven't had a bad one yet. Oh man, the nose on this is incredible. Woo! Oh my gosh. Wow, this blows the first. Well, number 2 is actually pretty good, but this one is like, hold my beer. Here I come. Jason, the Old Forester 1924 is out. When are we getting a review? That one I'm excited for. I have a sample coming of that one, so should get a review soon. The Bourbonist is here. Shout out to the Bourbon Hunters podcast. Need to get Dude on YouTube. Yep, love the Bourbon Hunters. Those are my fellas. If you guys like bourbon podcasts, definitely subscribe to the Bourbon Hunters. I make appearances on there every now and again, and those guys are just great guys. So, oh my gosh. I know it's going to sound weird, but this has like a vanilla, like taffy type note to it. There's like this richness to it where it's just so, it's concentrated, but it's not like vanilla extract concentrated. It's like an extra sweet concentrated. Savory, not savory, I'm sorry, baking spice heavy. This is like in the cinnamon spice. This is my kind of rye. This is where I live right here. Man, probably a little aniseed here too, a little bit of like that black licorice or like almost like a roasted fennel. It's like caramelized. This one's crazy, and I can't wait to try this one. Cheers. Here we go. Would love to see you do Penelope Toasted 100 proof rye. I got to try that one this year. That one was good. I did like that. But again, and I tell everybody, I am not the biggest toasted guy. Michter's toasted rye, I think is an exception. It doesn't normally taste like other toasted products I've had. I don't know what it is about it to me. It just tastes different. There's a level of concentration to it that I don't think every other toasted rye has that the Michter's one has. This one has a hefty proof to it. Hefty proof because I could just feel this thing going and going. The finish on this is incredible. It is dark. It is rich. Wow. That one might be my favorite so far. The flavors are crazy. It's almost like a maple syrup note it's coming out now. That thing is all over the place. Which rye is that? Mad love for New Year's and beyond peeps. That's right. EMC in the house. That one sounds like Bardstown Bourbon Company. I get a lot of licorice, as James Lay. Could be. To me, toasted ryes come out very bourbony with the extra caramel and whatnot, with the extra barreling. I agree, Terrence. But sometimes toasted barrels give me like this little weird bitter aftertaste. And that's something that I know just kills a whiskey for me. I don't know what it is. I don't generally get it, though, in the Michter's one. Trying to think if there's another toasted rye that I've really liked. You know, Penelope, I've had a couple of picks that have been toasted from Penelope that have been really good, including our own, which one tasted like butter pecan ice cream, butterscotch. That one was really good. Trying to think what else. Did Jack do like a toasted oak one? Was that bourbon or rye? I'm trying to remember. I mean, well, you know, Jack Daniels does have the twice barreled rye, which is in this mix somewhere, which I really like. But again, I think that one kind of falls in the line of the Michter's, where it just doesn't have like that bitterness. It's all sweet and all candy on the back end. I love the Sagamore Double Oak. Sagamore Double Oaked is always a favorite for a lot of people. All right, let's go to number 5 here. Number 5 smells pretty solid here. Mamuka with the big super chat, $5 here. Happy New Year, healthy, prosperous, peaceful New Year to you and everyone here. Thank you so much, Mamuka. For sure, I get that. I enjoyed the KC Twice Barrel Rye, but wouldn't say it was phenomenal or anything. Mile High Whiskey Bruz in the house. That's quite the blind. I have to say the JD Twice Barrel and M10 Rye were on the top of my list as Mile High Whiskey Bruz. You know, those are 2 great whiskeys, man. I would not. Can't argue there. Those 2 come in on top. That's probably pretty good. You're having a good day there. Which is better, Sagamore 8-year or Double Oaked? In my opinion, the Sagamore 8-year. The Sagamore 8-year has way more depth to it. All right, let's try this one here, guys. Yeah, Midwinter's to me this year was solid. But there's just too many good ryes. Midwinter's just falls behind now. Man, this one's nice. It's light but kind of dense at the same time. Like it's not as punchy in the face. I think the problem is it's coming off of number 4 here, because this one is just all in your face. However, this one has some of those really heavy citrusy notes. I get a lot of orange in this one. A lot of spiced orange, like an orange, like herbal tea type thing. I've been cooking all weekend, so my nose is like on point, I think. Just picking up all sorts of shit. It's the Sagamore 8-year cast strength. I don't think it is. I have all the bottles here. It is 111.4. It's not labeled as cast strength, but I mean, it could be. I don't remember. I can't remember the details on it. I don't know if they proofed it to 111.4 on purpose or if it is cast strength, but I don't care. It's freaking good. Oh, Cedar Ridge pour finished rye. I got a sample of that. That thing was incredible for sure. Be Kind, M&D, and Bruzel, my 2 favorite YouTubers. Thank you so much. All right, let's try this one here. The nose is very citrus forward, but instead of like the Sprite that I got on the other one, this one is more orange. That's delicious. That is super sweet. The orange comes through. It's got a nice spice there. Oh, no, a sip of that one. Drinking some Open Little Bay, so good. Chris Garner going with the Scotch tonight. I like it. That's really nice. This one is just so citrusy and sweet and spicy. This one is probably not as concentrated or comes off like number 4 does, but where the flavors hit, it's really good. You kind of get everything, the sides of the tongue. Love it. Like it. Master Jum, did you not like the Still Austin Rye or Cast Strength Rye, Mr. Great Shot? I heard great things, man. I just didn't get those bottles, unfortunately. Again, it's one of those things where... And here's also what happened this year. There were so many bourbons that were released. I was so like hell-bent on getting all these different bourbons to review. You know, I kind of, you know, I'll admit it. I kind of forgot about some of the ryes, all these great ryes that released. I just didn't get a chance to get some of those Still Austin ones. I'm going to have to really make note of some of these rye whiskeys being put out by either New Riff, Still Austin, 13th Colony, Found North, and really make an effort to get those next year. It's just, you know, with all the bourbons that released in 2023, it was tough. It was tough. Ryes, as much as I loved ryes, you know, bourbons, you know, I get more requests to review all these different bourbons more than ryes, which is, you know, to be expected. But there were so many good ryes this year, so you know that's just kind of how it went. But I heard great things about the Still Austin Cask Strength rye as well. The most disappointing rye was the Lot 40 Cask Strength Port Cask. Total mess, says Peter. Peter, man, I remember when those Lot 40 Cask Strengths were just so damn good. What's up, Mike Meyer? Nice to see you, bud. Chris Garner says, I prefer Scotch over bourbon. Bourbon is way too sweet to me, and I don't need all the proof to have an incredible, flavorful whiskey, says Chris Garner. Hey, man, I don't fault you for that. My Sagamore Cask Strength bottle is 112, so 8 years, pretty close. There you go, Corey. All right, one more sip of this one. That one has an unbelievably good balance. Just everything you get from front to back. Sweet, savory. We have 409 in the chat right now. Guys, please hit that like button when you're hanging out. Really appreciate it. Merry Christmas if you're just coming in. I haven't said it to you yet. Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Festivus, all the amazing holidays that are around this type of year. This time of year, I should say, as we get into the new year, which is coming fast. So, again, I have pinned a comment in the top of the chat. If you guys would like to donate a bottle to the upcoming St. Jude Children's Hospital fundraiser, along with the Nationwide Children's Hospital fundraiser, please click that link, fill out the form, and let me know if you're willing to either, you could donate a bottle, you could donate a sample pack. If you were one of the lucky ones to get all the BTAC this year, you want to do a little bit of a sample pack for someone to win as we raise some money for the kids, that would be great too. So if you feel like donating anything, it's not mandatory. It's completely up to you, but please click the link. We already have some really amazing bottles coming in here for the fundraiser, including an Elijah Craig Barrel Proof C923 and a couple of other favorites that people have loved this year. So, all right, last one in this grouping. Mile High Whiskey Bros. I just tried Kings County Rye Conic twice barrel straight rye whiskey, which was really good. Dude, Kings County makes incredible stuff. Absolutely. If you ever go to Cedar Ridge and do a pick, come down to Des Moines and I'll cook for you in the restaurant I'm the chef at, says Chase Johansson. I like that idea. Yeah, we did a Cedar Ridge pick. Was that this year or last year? I think it was this year. We were down at Cedar Ridge in Iowa. Absolutely love that distillery. It was so much fun. Mamuka, just click on that link above and just add it to the list if you want. Thoughts on Redwood Empire Rise? I love the Cask Strength Emerald Giant. Delicious. As far as the non-Cask Strength ones, my favorite's the Lost Prophet. I'm sorry, not Lost Prophet. Lost Monarch. I would say Lost Prophet. Lost Monarch. As far as my favorite Cask Strength, the Lost Monarch at Cask Strength was kind of a big disappointment for me. But that, out of the three, the Emerald Giant was my favorite of the three. I think it's a fantastic rye whiskey, for sure. Cedar Double Oaked was incredible. That Cedar Ridge Double Oak that we picked was such a banger. I loved it. All right. Last one of this mix. Very sweet. Man, this is just another great rye here. All of these have been all stellar in their own way. It's going to come down to texture, finish. I, judge a lot on finish as well. These final lists at the end of the year are always really interesting. This year, I'm going to switch it up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is probably do a couple videos. One, I will do my top 10 most favorite bourbons that I've tasted this year. I will lead up and do a couple blind tastings that are going to be on Patreon only. So if you guys want to view that, you can join my Patreon. The link's in the description below. And you could see me kind of taste through a bunch of my favorite bourbons that I got to try this year and kind of rank them to get to my top 10, which will be a lot. I'm not going to do that live because it's just too many whiskeys. And then what I'm also going to do is a non-allocated top 10 list, because I think there's some great releases that have switched for me in my collection that I have been going to more and more each and every year, especially this year. It was a big shift for me. Like 1920 Old Forester, which I mentioned earlier, are always on my list. However, this year, I've kind of gotten away from that because of the reasons that I mentioned earlier. So now I'm kind of getting into more of a, like, for example, the Remus High Rye Bourbon. Really enjoyed that this year. The Russell's Reserve Single Barrels that are shelfers, not even picks, were so good this year. I mean, I think that needs to be addressed. Knob Creek 9-year, the age statement is back, and Knob Creek 9-year 100 proof for 40-45 bucks. Incredible value sitting on the shelf that nobody talks about. Nobody pays attention to it. Obviously, Rare Breed and other releases like that. So there are some really good non-allocated bourbons. I know everyone kind of goes crazy. Oh, I can't get that. I can't get this. It's such a spread out market for bourbon. It's hard to please everybody, and I get that. Not only do you have to compete with states that are controlled versus non-controlled, but then you have to deal with what states get what, when, and where. And then you have the factor of how much people are willing to spend on a bourbon. Like for me, like I'm going to tell you right now, single Rickhouse Camp Nelson F from Russell's Reserve from Wild Turkey this year, that's probably going to make my top 10. That's a $300 bottle. Now, I'll get some comment, nobody's paying that money to get that bottle, but some are, but that's the best bourbon I had this year. So I know some guys that won't pay over $100 to get a bourbon, and that's fine. There's all sorts of different whiskey consumers, all walks of life across the country that just have completely different experiences. Like being in Ohio, I can't get BTAC and I can't get Pappy and I can't get all this stuff. That goes into a lottery. If I lived in a state where they didn't have it and I could build a relationship with a store owner over the course of time, maybe get a chance to get those. Yeah, maybe, but that's just a different ball game. There are so many factors that go into these top 10 lists. That's why the only thing that I can make sure that I can control is that I don't put samples of whiskeys into these top 10s, because I just don't think it's fair to the other whiskeys that I've enjoyed over the course of time. And so if anyone wants to be like, oh, nobody's getting that bottle, no one's paying that bottle, I mean, I did. I loved it, or I did and I didn't love it. It's the most honest way I feel like I can do it. So there you go. All right, last one here. Oh yeah, Old Potrero. I think I have a bottle coming my way. I just didn't get it in time to go on this list, but if I will do a full review on it, judged on the how good I've been hearing it is. So Old Potrero will get its day in the spotlight soon here on the Mash and Drum. This one's very good too. This one isn't probably not the most concentrated that I've seen. Jason, have you ever hit on the OHLQ lottery? Seems like such a waste, but people do win. John, I just got skunked again. There were 4 Jason C's or 5 Jason C's that did win. None of them were me. So congrats to those Jason C's out there. None of them were me. I'm officially like 0 for 48, 49, whatever it is. I have not hit on one OHLQ lottery yet. One's a very low proof, not a ton going on. Just kind of pales in comparison here. So, all right. So let me rank these here. Or actually, let me pick out my top 2. All right. So my top 2, I think, are pretty clear. Number 4, I kind of put a star next to it because it was just incredible. And I think number 3 was the other one. Say Old Potrero 5 times fast. I don't think I can. Laugh out loud, not the right Jason. I have lost them all to a buddy back in 2019. Hit a William Llewellyn though. Different times though too. Yeah, for sure. Is there a Jason C doppelganger? Oh yeah, the guys in the that won them. Yeah, for sure. Prescription Bourbon says Jason C is one of my handles. Yeah, not the right Jason C. Not yet. Maybe one day. All right, so this one is definitely making it through. I'm going to put that one aside. I'm not sure what letter that is. We will find out. What's going to be the other one? Oh, I think I love number 2. Number 2 it was, yeah. Number 2 is just super rich. It's different. It's concentrated. I think number 2 is the one. I think these two are my tops here from this round. Now, as far as these go, we'll have to rank these a little bit later. But if I have to do a quick ranking here, I'll say I really like that one. This was the orange one. Oh, this one was good. Yep. Oh, I love this one too. This one's really good. Very herbal though. This was the super herbal one that was very savory. Jumping on late, the admin series was great. I tip my cap. You had the energy to go live, says Ethan F. Yeah, I was definitely going live tonight. I wasn't going to miss this one. But I'm glad everybody loved the Advent Calendar series. It was one of my favorite things. I really had fun with it. I know a lot of people thought the Grinch thing was cheesy, but whatever. I was just having fun with it. It was nice to have a sidekick to talk to. Whatever Rye wins to M&J character, a hard truth. You know, see. Yeah, the M&J rare character we picked was freaking unbelievable. This one might be my favorite so far. Then I have this one. This is the lightest. I love the balance in that one. This one kind of falls off a bit. Yeah, I think I have like this ranking right here. So I'm going to keep this aside. I'm going to put those off camera. So that's that ranking. So, all right, we've done 6 of the 13. We're about to dive into the next 7 here. I'm going to take a little break. Talk to you guys. Grinch was the rock star. Anyone have a, let's see, 424 watching. What is up, everybody? Thanks for hanging out here in the Mash and Drum. I really appreciate the support. Thanks, guys. The Advent Calendar production was amazing. Grinch was hilarious. People didn't like the Grinch are the same people who think Blanton's is the greatest Bob of all time. Oh, shit. You killed the Advent Calendar. I like our idea on maybe Patreon sending samples for next year. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'll have you guys just have at it. Maybe I'll post it in Patreon. You guys can pick a day that you want to submit for, whether it be 1 through 25, and just send in a sample, and there you go. It could be a pick. It could be whatever the hell you want to send me. I challenge you to let the Grinch talk right now with no editing, says Wayne Smith. What did he say? I can't do it. Jason, are you excited for Usher performing at the Super Bowl halftime show? No, I am not. I wanted the Killers. To perform at the halftime show this year. That was supposed to be the trend. I heard that there was like a petition to get them to perform this year, and they're not. So, yeah. Grinch was a little salty, and I'm not a Blanton's fan, says Bob Glass. Yeah, he was salty, but he's the Grinch. He's supposed to be. Daniel Grigo says, first time watching live. Dude, Daniel, thanks for hanging out, man. Appreciate it. The Killers would have been epic. Yeah, I think the Killers would have had a great show, for sure. I'm trying to think if there was any whiskey news that came across. A lot of top 10 lists coming out. A lot of different, some pretty ridiculous lists that I've seen come out of people, putting out, in the whiskey sphere. Did anybody watch Fred's top 10 last week? I'm sorry, top 100 last week. What did you think of the results? Did you find it fair? I know Fred got some pushback, here and there on some of the selections he made. His number one, I will say, was surprising. That Old Stag, because has anyone seen that bottle? I mean, I remember when it was announced. I remember when it was going to come out. Did it ever release? I don't know anybody in the whiskey planet who got that bottle or any of those bottles. And somehow it hit his number one spot. And listen, this is how I feel about it. You get certain bottles sent to you or samples, and I get it. And if you're going off of that's the best whiskey I tasted this year, to each his own. If that's going to be your top, like an Eagle Rare 17 or George D. Stagg or any of these super high allocated Buffalo Trace bottles, if that's your number one, then that's fine. To each his own. But when you pick a bottle that nobody in the world has pretty much seen, or no common man has seen, or common woman, or common whiskey drinker has ever seen, that to me just comes off like, I don't know, disconnected a bit. I know it's tough because, Fred is only tasting the stuff that he has and he's trying to rank them. And I know another, somebody else I respect on Uprocks that also, had Eagle Rare, Eagle Double, the Eagle Rare 25 year is number one. And I get that too, but it's maddening when you see, not only is it a Buffalo Trace release, but it's a Buffalo Trace releases are already limited. And now you're picking number one as a Buffalo Trace bottle that's ultra limited. It's like, that's great, but nobody on God's green earth will ever taste that unless, they're willing to spend God knows how much money on that bottle. It's that stuff. I think I can only imagine how frustrated it gets, like you guys, like the viewers, but like even for me, who's a whiskey tuber, and I'm very blessed to have great connections to get different whiskeys around the country, I still can't get those bottles. Buffalo Trace doesn't send me shit. So I don't know, man. It's crazy, man. If we can't buy it, what's the point of putting it in a ranking? Man, it is tough. It is tough. Saucy Shane, I agree with you. I agree with you so damn much with you, Jason. 19-year-old Willet, POAC Double Eagle Rare. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Those are tough bottles for people. Yeah, not only is it ultra limited, but it's also set of multiple 375 milliliters. Yeah. During his tasting, there were a few that blew his hair back, but ended up ranking pretty low by the end. I think it's too many to do in one sitting. I agree. I know Fred is a rock star when it comes to that stuff, and it's amazing, and he can he knows what it's going to taste like. He's always said he knows what it's going to taste like. All he has to do is just hit his palate, and he can kind of figure it out, and then he knows. I mean, I can't speak for Fred's palate, but it's crazy. It's interesting. Here's what I think. Frank was trying to place cellar age in the. Fred was probably trying to place cellar age in the top 10. Got thrown off by Larson Barrel for Polaris. Also, Balcones ahead of George T. 100 is too many samples. Stop watching Fred Longo. Gave me paid chill vibes. Says Crypto Whiskey. But Fred also gave two Larson Barrel backs as number 2 and 3, so that makes up for it. Yeah, I see that. And that's the thing that like drives you crazy about the list. It's like he picks the old Stag as like his top, but then he throws in like 2 Larceny Barrel proofs, which are attainable and affordable in there too. So it's like, oh, okay, well I can't get that, but I can get these. So take it for what you will. I just think it's a 100 whiskeys, man. I say it every year, and he'll be on for the finals of Glenliget as the final judge. At least I hope he will be. And I'm definitely going to ask him about it because it's crazy to me. That's a lot of whiskey, but he has a knack for doing it. I don't know how he does it. He said his palate was on point more than ever before that night too. Oh, did he? Okay. Yeah, that's the thing, Richie. He doesn't swallow the whiskey at times. He doesn't. Seems like he loves his wheat. Yeah, he's a wheated bourbon guy for sure. He does love wheated bourbon. His list is his list. No big deal. Yeah, Keith, it's his list. Everyone's going to have their list. People are going to have the list that don't. So here's the thing I factor into my list because I always get asked this question as well. If you guys care, whatever. My list is my list. I picked the top bourbons that I got to try this year, as long as I got a bottle of it. Some of them are going to be really hard to find. Some of them are probably not so hard to find. But I also put in good values. If there's a potential really good value that came out this year, I will go out of my way to get that on the list. Because, for example, Green River wheated bourbon. Bardstown Origin Series. Those are two wheated bourbons that came out that were really affordable, really delicious, and I think deserve to be on the top 10 list, because when you bring something like that to the market that's not heavily allocated but also affordable and really good quality, I think it deserves to be on the list, not just everything that's super highly allocated or impossible to get. So I try to kind of mix it up here and there. So really what I'm picking is kind of like my top 7 bourbons, because I always designate 3 slots for bourbons that come out like the Origin Series, like the Green River, that have been brought to the market that are super affordable and super delicious and high quality, because I think those deserve a spotlight. So we'll see what happens this year. There's a lot of great bourbons that were released this year. So, all right. Here we go. 13 Colony Bourbon and Rye are in the $30 and tastes great. Yeah, 13 Colony Bourbon and the Rye are really, really good. If you don't swallow, how can you judge the feels? I feel like there was no buzz around the Larceny Barrel Proofs and Bernheim and the Willet 8-year black bottle, but I guess everyone has their own palate. He loves his wheats. Uncle Ron, I got to try that Willet, and I was not a fan, but I am not a huge fan of Willet overall. Let's see here. I will say the Larceny Barrel Proofs were very good this year. 2 of them, the B and the C, which were both in Fred's top 10, they were really good. So we'll see how they make it through in my personal tasting. Mike Ives says, 2 of the top 3 Larceny Barrel Proofs. Who would have thought that happened? I actually had a Larceny 820, which I think is pretty fantastic. This was a very, very good year for a Logitech Barrel Proof and also for Larceny Barrel Proof. Heaven Hill seems to always just take it to the I don't know. They're out of those 2, they just always seem to hit just right. Has anyone had a Green River Single Barrel Full Proof? Might go to the store and taste it. Yes, Buffalo Bourbon Enthusiasts. I got a chance to try them, and they are very. Most of them that I've tried are very cherry forward. So if you like that, they're really good. That's all I'm going to say. They could almost be kind of like a baby stag type thing, like a stag junior, if you will, for the Green River picks. So if that sounds good to you, definitely try them. You think it's hard to get bottles where you are living in Nova Scotia, Canada? Oh my God, yeah, I can only imagine. Something is wrong if you like 291. Do you find it easier to guess where a rye is from compared to bourbon? I tend to find it easier. Yes, I think so. But there are a lot of ryes now that are more blended than anything. I think Sagamore is actually one that's tough to pull out because it's a blend of Indiana and Kentucky. Usually Kentucky rye will just be kind of straight, like a sweeter type of rye profile. Michter's can literally pass for a bourbon sometimes to me, especially the Michter's 10-year, because it's so sweet. All right, got our first Uncle Nearest single barrel yesterday. Absolutely delicious. Yeah, we have a Green River single barrel coming out to the Master Journey Whiskey Club here next year. And man, does that thing have stats. We cannot wait to release that to the group. So if you guys are part of the club, you have a banger coming your way. So Joey Bananas, Leopold Brothers Rye, any good? Josh Fritsch, Leopold Brothers Rye is extremely floral. So if you like a floral rye, lavender, that herbal rye quality, but a lot of floral to it. I always say the word florality, and I don't even know if that's an actual word, but if you like a lot of florality, you don't mind it. That's what that is. All right. Let's go through the next 7. 10:08. Making good time here, guys. This is going to be fun. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like highly allocated bourbons like that should be in like its own separate thing. I don't know. That's me, though. I understand if it's the best whiskey you ever tasted this year. But, I mean, you got to know going in, when you pick that as your number 1, you know no other human really gets to taste that bottle. Like, I don't know. It's a thing where I get it, but I also don't get it. I don't know, because I just always feel like I still always feel like, even though, yeah, I'm very lucky enough to be blessed to get bottles that maybe even a lot of guys don't get or are willing to pay for. However, I'm still in that group of people that just don't get to see the BTACs and the Pappies and all this other stuff that comes out every year. I don't get that. I'm not that lucky or that blessed to get all that shit. But I really don't need it. There's so many great bourbons and whiskeys out there. I think that's the thing that I try to convey to people. I don't like, if I go to someone's house and they're showing me all their BTACs, like, that does not impress me. Show me something that's unique. Show me something that's delicious, that's different. Tell me the story behind it, and then I'll be impressed. Don't just like whip out a Pappy 23. I'm like, yeah, that's great, but it's a low proof oak tree in a bottle. I don't care. What else do you got? You know what I mean? Now, William Leroy Weller, George C. Stagg, always awesome from BTAC. I'll never turn any of those down. But I mean, there's so many bottles that people lift up on a pedestal that they feel should be just seen as, like, you know, it's like anything else. People want what they can't have. And those are the pinnacles of bourbon that people still chase. I don't understand it, but it is what it is. But there are just too many good bourbons. And look, let those guys spend the money and burn all their cash on, you know, bottles like that, because there's much better shit out there. JG, you don't have to share all your BTAC, but, you know, send me a little George C. Stagg and William Weller. We'll be good. Red also put Bernheim Barrel Proof A223 at the 19th. That was a weird one for me, and I love the regular Bernheim Shelfer. Yeah, to rate that Bernheim Barrel Proof that high, that was questionable. I did not like that bottle at all. I thought it was okay. To get into a top 20 situation against some of those other bottles he had in there, did not understand it. But again, maybe Fred's palate was just like on point for wheat that night, because it seemed like he liked a lot of wheaters. Oh, thanks, Terrence. All right, let's try this one. Really good nose, very sweet, a little deep, a little rich. See what it does in the palate. Oh, holy hell, that's good. That is delicious. This one not only brings rye spice and like cinnamon and clove, but it also brings like this nice little punch of dark fruit to it as well, which I really, really dig. So is that a Kentucky rye doing that? Because it's giving me some of those little punches of dark fruit flavors to it. There's so much more than BTAC. Yeah, I agree. I keep hearing stories of guys just like waiting online overnight to get any sort of Buffalo Trace single barrel like thing. You know, it's hard for me to believe that those guys are just online just because they love Buffalo Trace that much. You know, unfortunately, it just like falls in line with all these flippers and all this other stuff that goes on behind the scenes. And I get it. I get that's a big part of the the bourbon community. And I've met some great people, waiting online and doing stuff like that. But, at the same time, there's just so many better bottles. I just wish people would take the time to explore some of these better bottles. Like tonight, I have like Corbin Cash in this mix, and I have what else is in here? Buzzard's Roost Cigar Rye, and what else is in here? Maybe the Hard Truth Sweet Mash Rye. Some of these younger but lesser known ryes are so much far beyond any of the lower proof, mediocre stuff that Buffalo Trace may put out. That it's still hard for me to comprehend all of it, even to this day. I mean, especially being this far into how popular whiskey has been over the last several years. This is delicious. This ends with like this, maybe because it's the holidays, but I'm getting a straight up like gingerbread cookie note on the back end of that one. And it's delicious. Gingerbread. Have you tried Jacob's Pardon, Michael? I tried one of them. I have one of the light whiskeys, but that's it. Thanks, Silas. Nice to see you, man. Let's see here. James Lay. What broke me from Fred was saying 13 Colleen Double Oak didn't make the top 10 because it was astringent and ethanol forward. Then he puts ECBP B523 in the top 20. WTF. The fact that was probably my most like what the F moment. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof B523, in my opinion, was one of the worst Elijah Craig Barrel Proof releases in the past several years. The fact that made the top 20, I just mind blown. I could not understand it. I'm like, what is happening right now? I don't understand. How is that bottle top 20? And it just goes back to my thing where maybe 100 bottles is too much. This thing is stupid good. I'm saying stupid good on that one. So in this lineup, we're picking a top 3. I don't see much beating that first one. That one's really good. All right. Let's go to number 2 here. Or I should say number 8 in the lineup. Have you tried the Jacobs Barn Match 3, 18-year hazmat? Not regret the expensive purchase. I can't say I did because it was expensive and I did not buy it. Did not try that one. No, he said it had a particular note he didn't like. Oh, so he didn't like it. 1,000,000%. I'm sitting here looking at 13 different bottles on my shelf. It's hands down the worst of them all. Says James Lay. Have you tried the Parker's Cast Strength Rye? I love the line with connection to ALS. Just so hard to get. Yeah, Kyle, I addressed that in the beginning. That's why that Parker's is not in the running tonight. I could not get a bottle myself. Maybe I will down the line if the prices come down a little bit. But I got a sample that I was able to review from a great patron of mine, and I do think it was a really good rye this year. So if anyone got that one, kudos to you. It's a really good rye. But it's also exactly what I expected from not Elijah Craig, but a Heaven Hill rye. I thought it was exactly what I expected. High proof, very sweet, good finish, not super rye heavy. I kind of went into it thinking, well, that's what I kind of expected it to taste like, and it didn't disappoint. I think it just demonstrates a problem with assigning an arbitrary numerical score to whiskeys. That's the main reason why Fred ended up with so many weird rankings. Yeah, that's why I don't do it. I don't do numbers. When I first started the channel, I had this one guy that constantly got on me because I didn't assign scores to whiskeys that I was reviewing. And my point was, look, every single reviewer that I've seen that does the score system was generally in, and it didn't matter what whiskey it is, was like from 85 to like 97 if it was like that really good, if it was that good. That was the range. Nobody ever dipped into like 70s or 60s. It was always in that specific window. I was like, how does that help you? Like, how does that help you because you have a score? So if there's a whiskey that's an 87 versus an 88, you're telling me you're going to run out and buy the 88 over the 87? I was like, that's bullshit. I'm like, you're not. A 1-point differentiation is not going to matter if you try that the next day. It could reverse if it's that close. So a numerical system to me does nothing. To me, what matters is a longevity of the whiskey as you keep trying it down the bottle. You know, honestly, when you have people come over and try it with friends and you get their opinions on it, if they kind of echo what you're saying as far as like what you really love, then you got something. But a numerical system doesn't do anything for me. So this one has a really interesting nose. It's different. I'm wondering if this has a funky finish to it or something. In fairness, Ralphie said he wouldn't publish reviews for anything below 70. So it's not like he never gave 70 scores. Oh, that makes sense. But Ralphie has always been tough, man. I respect Ralphie. I don't think there's a YouTuber, whiskey tuber who doesn't respect Ralphie. Ralphie is the man. That guy is the most knowledgeable, down to earth. Hey, sorry guys, my phone was not on. Was not on silent. Let's see. Oh, that's Kim. She says hi. I'm live right now. That's right. This is happening live right now. All right, here we go. Jason, what's a score below 70 that you'd give Jeff the Creed? I'd give Jeff like a fucking 50. Man, this is cherry too. This is the first one I've gotten like a nice rich cherry note. JW says, you turned me on to Peerless, dude. Yeah, I think Peerless actually makes great whiskey. A little bit expensive, but very, very good whiskey. Do you ever have the feeling that OHLQ is rigged or corrupted or unfair? Says Too Tall Tim Adventures. I think a lot of people got that inclination in the beginning, and I think it's hard to not think that when you constantly lose. But it's, I don't know. What I do wish, the thing is that, you know, I had Jim Canepa on here, and he said that, you know, everything is like a certain algorithm, everything is random. But it is hard to think that when you know that there are people that have won multiple times. But there are also people that, you know, use their... I know that there are, you know, guys that run departments, and they have every single employee in their department put in an entry for them. So there's just so much competition. You have non-whiskey lovers trying to get bottles for people that are whiskey lovers. And it just makes the competition so much more tough to get any sort of bottle. And unfortunately, I mean, you could say it's rigged. I don't know if it's rigged. I just know that the amount of people that are in this lottery to get a Pappy or a BTAC is far more vast and jumbled than it ever has been. So that's really the issue, because you just have a lot of non-whiskey drinkers trying to get bottles for actual whiskey drinkers. Michael, is no one reviewing 2XO because it stinks and doesn't want to offend it? I love Kentucky Owl, but the gem is truly awful. Smoky bacon to a peated point, says Michael. I reviewed the gem of Kentucky, and my barrel that I had, I actually really liked. But I did hear very, very mixed reviews across the board, depending on the barrel. I even talked to Dixon about it, and he said that one lot of barrels was very sweet, and one lot of barrels got to like a more of a smoky note. So that sounds like that's what you experienced, Michael, to be honest. All right, let's switch up the track a little bit here. This has been playing for a while here. Let's try let's do this one. All right, we're back in it. 437 in the chat. Thank you guys so much for watching tonight. Number 2 here is also extremely good, but you can't video that, and it gets pretty complicated. To score a bottle and use that to determine whiskey of the year, you almost have to taste and score a bottle 10 times on separate occasions, have a measure of the average score and deviation. Yeah, exactly. So I wasn't doing all that. I reviewed the GOK, and just like any single barrel, General Kentucky, there's a lot of variance. Yep. Jason, what would you score Big Vic's Amburana blend? I think you know what I would score that. So guys, Christmas, Santa left me quite a bit. I got a lot of sneakers this year. This is really good too. Man, it looks like the next 7 here are going to be bangers, because the first 2 are already really good. All right, let's go to number 3. You know, let me get a quick hit of water here. Not enough Amburana casts out there. Yeah, there's plenty of Amburana. Any of you guys have a guess of like what the next big finish is going to be for 2024? What's it going to be? This year, I feel like was Amburana. Amburana was everywhere. A lot of people did Amburana. What's going to be next year? My guess, well, let me see what you guys say. See what my guys say. Honey. People saying honey. I could see honey. Oh, man, this one smells Even better than the first two. This again gets into like that mix of like fruity and sweet and also like rye spice and cinnamon heavy. Spanish oak beer finish bourbon. Jason Eckert, that's a great point. The biggest things with all these reviews to find people who identify with similar proud syndrome. Don't blindly trust all reviews. Exactly. That's why I always tell people, you know, it's interesting that, you know, you find one reviewer that will just kind of hype everything up for you. However, what you really want to do is find a palate that agrees with your palate. And then, you know, you have a trustworthy source of what to spend your money on. So I'm sure maple toasted stout finish I love. I think a rye barrel finish is like Unforgotten. Soap Noah's Ark. Wormwood says too. So we have some Malort ryes coming out. I think honey barrels are kind of a gimmick. It's pretty likely a lot of brands are using wet barrels, and at that point you're just flavoring whiskey. Cigar, yeah, I think we're going to see more cigar type labeling, even though there's no true guidelines for what makes a cigar blend or a cigar batch or a cigar whiskey. Man, this one smells awesome. Speaking of Malort, did you see Matt really dug Jepson's bourbon? Yeah, Kenneth. Jepson is sourcing some really good barrels from NGP and Ross and Squib, whatever you want to call it. And they're also some of the best values. You can get a good Jepson's bourbon for like $50. It's delicious stuff. It's not Malort. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is beautiful. That's stupid good. Coffee bean, says the bourbonist. I'm not on that train. Ribeye finished rice. Asian tobacco leaves. Well, that's what I mean. Well, 10 years? I mean, you might as well just smoke a cigar at that point. Yeah, Nancy Fraley must kind of like, someone else using cigar or whatever. Anything to make whiskey sweeter. I have seen more maple honey finishes this past year. Don't see that slowing down. Terrence McDermott, couldn't agree with you more. I think people just want sweeter and sweeter and sweeter whiskeys. It gets to a point where it's going to be a liqueur, basically. Holy crap, this thing is so good. It's balanced, it's sweet. It's got a long, lingering finish here. Man, that is really good. All right. Wow. That one's really good. All right. Have you tried the Rye 3 cigar blend? Yes, I did try that one, Terrence. Pretty good. And Amaretto finished rye since Chrono Monitor. We could see from Sagamore that could happen. That actually sounds really really good, by the way. I'm not gonna hate on that until I try it. Man, I feel bad for this rye whiskey because it's coming off of this one. This one is so good. All right, let's try this one here. This is a very typical rye on the nose, very sweet. A little bit of oak here too. Maybe this one has a little age on it. Let's try this one. Wow. So citrus forward. That reminds me of one of those, what do you call those things? The creamsicle, like the push pop creamsicles, like old school. I remember being a kid and the ice cream man would come. Is there an ice cream man anymore? Does the ice cream man still exist? When the ice cream man comes down the street, playing the song, Mr. Softy, whatever it is. But it was the Good Humor Man, the one that came around with all the different stuff. And he had the Flintstone orange push pops. That's what this one reminds me of. I'm literally writing that down right now. Yeah, 10. Orange push pops. Push pops. Oh my God, it is so orangey. That's really good. The Bourbonist says Tropics is rough for me. Are you talking about Jefferson's Tropics? Bourbonist? I've had a couple of rum finishes from smaller brands lately that tried to finish younger whiskey and just didn't work. Too harsh and the rum doesn't. Yeah, that definitely happens a lot. Where you have, in all honesty, Starlight got a lot of flack from that at the beginning because they were taking their young whiskey that they were doing grain and glass and just throwing in a finish to kind of hide the rough edges that their whiskey has. But as their stuff has gotten older, it's gotten a lot better. But again, it's a means to an end. You have to know what you're drinking. That's why I think, really, when it comes to a younger distiller, you really have to look for that straight, that straight bourbon whiskey type of, declaration on the label. Make sure it's over 10 years old. I'm sorry, not 10. Make sure it's over at least 2 years old, and make sure you know what you're drinking, especially when you get into finishes, because finishes can't hide everything. One thing that's always been weird for me is Old Forester and Woodford Reserve. I feel like I can taste and anybody else in the chat, I feel like I can taste the heat cycled warehouse aging. It's a very, very weird thing I get on my palate whenever I taste it. Does anybody else? It tastes like acetone, like nail polish remover, like smells. It's a very weird thing that happens in my nose that connects to my brain and everything else in between. It's very weird. Does anybody else get that note in like higher age, like Old Forester and stuff? That heat cycled warehouse acetone / bitterness. Oh my God, I get it all the time. It's crazy. Play-Doh, yeah, that's a good way to say it. I can taste an Old Forester, not Woodford, but I haven't had Woodford barrel. Okay. 100% on Old Forester barrel proof picks for sure. I think that's what it is. It's just one of those weird flavors I always get. Adam K, why do all Brown-Forman products taste the same? Because their freaking yeast strain that tastes like banana is very powerful. That's why. It has happened in blinds, Terrence. I mean, I could kind of taste it coming through. I mean, there's been a few exceptions. Last year's Woodford batch proof, the 118 proof one, that one I really didn't get it too much on it. But every other Woodford batch proof I tasted, I could taste it. It's a weird thing. And the 2018 birthday bourbon, which is a 12-year-old whiskey, when it got down to a certain point in the bottle, all I could smell and taste was acetone. It's very strange. Very, very strange. All right, so on to number 11 here. So it's got some proofiness to it. Yeah, I'm with you, Don. I only sniff spray paint. Does that compare, says JG? I like the finish on that one. There's not a ton going on the front of the palate, but the finish on that is stellar. Really goes for a long time here. I'll give that one a great finish. All right, number 12. Almost through it, guys. Almost through it here. And number 12 smells fantastic. So is King Kentucky Woodford's mash bill or Old Forester's, or is it specifically just Brown-Forman? Kyle, King Kentucky is the early times mash bill. That is the early times mash bill. So just to kind of give you a rundown here. Let me see here. Trying to remember it offhand. Let me pull this up for you here. So early times mash bill for King Kentucky is 79 corn, 11% rye, 10% malted barley. And I think pretty much Old Forester is it 18% rye, if I remember correctly. So the mash bill here, yeah, 72 corn, 18% rye, 10% malted barley. So the early times mash bill and the old, or the, I should say, the Old Forester mash bill has a definite uptick, or I should say a downtick in rye grain. So there you go. Makes sense. That mash bill is strong. Yeah, John, it's an early times mash bill. It's pretty good. It's definitely a lot sweeter than the regular Old Forester mash bill, I think. Have you had any Old Carter American whiskey from 2023? Batch 12 was special for me, says the bourbonist. I did. Got to hang out with Mark Carter in Louisville and taste his American whiskeys this year, and they were freaking delicious. I always tell everybody, if you're going to spend money on Old Carter, get the American whiskeys. They are stellar, stupid good. This is another really good rye. The second round of ryes here is really tough. They're all really good. Savory, caramel, mint. Really good. Nice finish on that one too. That one's a hitter. That one could be up there here. Number 12. The thing about number 12 here is the viscosity. The viscosity is stellar. Know anything about Augusta Buckner's? Only thing I could tell you is that it is sourced primarily from Barton, so 1792. 1792 bourbons. So if you like that high rye mash bill, very similar. They do some high ages. I don't know if they do any other sources, rather than Barton. I know their first few that were very popular were all Barton sourced. That's generally what they do. It's kind of just like high-priced Barton sourced whiskey, which a lot of people have high-priced Barton sourced whiskey, but Augusta seems to be a little bit higher of a price. I think the best values for Barton sourced whiskey is Calumet. 14, 15, 16-year-old Calumet on the shelf for $200, for under $200. They're still sitting on the shelf here in Ohio. It amazes me. A 15, 16-year-old Barton sourced whiskey for under $200 still sitting on the shelf. It's crazy. But people want to spend $1,000 on like a Pappy, which is, same age or near the same. It's again, stuff like this. Again, I don't think it has anything to do with the whiskey. It has all to do with what's rare and what you can't have and what people are willing to chase and pay because they want that bottle on their shelf. It's really all it is. And unfortunately, a lot of whiskey has become that, especially this year, and we'll see what happens next year. All right, last one. I don't know if Calumet 16 is sweeter, Kenneth, but what the hell is that one? That one's really nice too. Woo! All the Calumets, I don't care what people like more than others. It's everyone's preference, but I think they're cherry bombs. I think you get like a medicinal cherry, like Luden's cough drop cherry thing into it, which is really good. All right. Ooh, 13. Coming in hot. Really good flavors on that one too. Yeah, this last 7 is tough. to pick a top 3 in here, I think I know one of them. This one has a little bit of a crafty note to it. Chocolate. Very chocolatey here on the finish on that last one. And I dig that. Love the Calumet 16. And for $110, I had to buy a backup for sure. Like having a Lambo in the garage, says Tin. Do you have a Lambo? I personally love the older Calumets. Keep leaving me on the shelf for me. Yeah, exactly. Keep leaving them there. Let's see here. Oh, shit. Drums and Drams in the house. Haven't seen Drum and Dram yet. What is going on, Cam? Nice to see you, man, if you're hanging out. Good to see you as always. Oh, there he is. Certainly generates some mixed opinion. Someone dropped a great comment that I pinned that gives you about, laser codes. I got to check out that C923. So, Cam, did you kind of find some real discrepancies in some of the laser codes for C923? I'm just curious. I've gotten multiple messages about it. I can't say I've gotten enough. I got a lot of the earlier bottles of C923, which has very similar laser codes. So I don't know if it's these later ones that are coming in that people aren't getting. They're as good as the ones that maybe I have. So, yeah. Any thoughts on Jacob's Well number 2? Haven't had at TCT. Oh, he did. So what were the findings, Cam? What'd you find out between some of those? What's your opinion on Pikesville Rye? I love it. I love Pikesville Rye. One of the preeminent like ryes that you could find on the shelf that is delicious for the money. You just have to find it. Who said this first? Pigs? What? They are different. I've been saying this. They're absolutely different. Yep, laser code's 823, 822 laser code by a million miles, says Joe Wanninger. It's like gambling. It's an addiction. I love Pikesville Rye, says Michael. Picked up a Penelope 15-year light whiskey today. Light whiskey's always good. They're very super sweet. Just got a Jacob's Well B2. 441 hanging out here. 446 now in the chat. What is going on? Fifth quarter tailgate is here. What's going on, Scotty? Nice to see you, man. Herman Bill is on the way. I'll have a review out the Hardin's Creek from 2023. Codes on bottle. I got to look at these codes now. I'm really curious. Shit. Before actually, let me taste the last one here, and then I'll look at my codes before I forget. This one's delicious. It's a chocolate bomb, which I love. It's chocolatey. I have no idea which one that is. Damn. Really, really good. Okay. That's all I could say is chocolate bomb. All right, let me grab my Elijah Craig because I'm curious now. All right. Now, I have backups of this, but as far as the laser code goes, let me look here. So mine, there isn't a hard cutoff, but general rule is that the 823 will likely be better than the 822 because it's bottled later, says Cam. Mine, this is the one that I've been tasting, that I've been loving and saying it's like one of the best things I've had this year. And it's an A23. It's an A23 621 501. That's the laser code on mine. And like I said, this is the one that I've been kind of fawning over. So it's an A23. So there you go. Mine is A22223. Explain the laser code thing, please, says Joe Kokoska. So laser codes are a funny thing in whiskey and bourbon. Whiskey, generally laser codes I really learn through my hunting for wild turkey bottles. Because laser codes in general, the wild turkey laser codes, you can kind of, so there was a thing that happened a couple years ago where Wild Turkey Long Branch was selling so well, and a lot of the 6 and 7 year Wild Turkey or the Wild Turkey barrels that were going into Long Branch, those blends was kind of cutting off the supply for Wild Turkey 101. So to supplement that, Wild Turkey was putting 10-year-old barrels into Wild Turkey 101. And the only way you could figure out which barrels had some of that 10-year-old barrel whiskey in it was by laser code. Now, laser codes, each distillery does it differently. Generally with Wild Turkey, you'll see like an LL / and then you have a bunch of letters that follow. And generally those mean year, month, date, and then so on and so forth. But each distillery has its own way of kind of doing it. Some of them are just outright. They'll just say the year it is, and it's really easy to follow. Some of them are a little bit more complicated, like the Wild Turkey laser codes. So laser codes can actually be a really good indicator of specific batch variation. We found this in Knob Creek 15 several years ago. When Knob Creek 15 released, there was a lot of batch variation there, and people were kind of trying to figure out the laser code and trying to see which ones were the sweet ones versus which ones were the really oak forward ones. The one I had, I felt like I was like licking a tree. But other people's that I tried that had different laser codes were a little bit sweeter. So I think if you're in the know and you're that geeky of a whiskey enthusiast to try to find those laser codes, they can be very helpful. So that's so Bob Glass, where's the laser code? Where's the where did I just put the? So here's Elijah Craig one. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I'll try here. I will try. So on the back of usually it's on the back of the bottle. You could kind of see it there. Do you? So right there. Do you see the little bit of writing? It's like right here. Do you see that on the bottle? Yeah, there it is. Right there on the bottom half of the bottle, there's a small laser code. This is on the back of. Now you'll find this usually on the bottom back part of the bottle for to find a laser code, and some of them are a lot easier to see than others. Like Russell's picks. I don't think these have. Yeah. So for Russell, you won't be able to see this, but Russell's right down here under the label has a very faint laser code that you can read. And this will tell you the year it was bottled, the year it was produced, everything. So laser codes can be a really good tool for you to find out exactly. If there's a lot of batch variation, it could definitely help. So, but watch Cam's video on the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. I'm sure he kind of covered all the information on drums and drams. Go check it out. Yeah, it's tough to read, man. They can be very tough to read. All right. Let's start trying to rank these here. I have a couple starred ones, which is definitely this one, number 3. Master Drum, you know how Cam came up with the name of his channel, Jason? How did you come up with yours? And was there any runner-ups? It's a good question. Mash and Drum was played off of one of my favorite bars in Manhattan called the Fife and Drum, which was it was an Irish, Scottish bar, whatever you want to call it. So I just loved kind of mixing in the drum part into using mash for whiskey, for bourbon mash. So I wanted to incorporate the word drum into it. So you had mash and drum, playing off of the Fife and Drum name that I used to go to in Manhattan, that one of my favorite bars. I don't even know if it's open anymore, but that's how the name kind of came up. So there you go. All right, this one's definitely making it through. That's one. Now I got to try to pick my other two because these are really good. Did you live in Manhattan, Jason? No, I lived in Queens, but it was not very far from Manhattan. But I did love Queens, and I do miss it from time to time. Did you? Oh yeah, you live in Manhattan. So an Italian guy walks into an Irish bar in New York City. Basically, at the time, I mean, I loved Guinness and I loved. I was exploring like Jameson and Irish whiskeys, and then I found bourbon like soon after that, and yeah, the rest is history. This is so good. Whatever that is. That is I already put that one through. That was 9, so here's 8 here. And walks out with an Irish girlfriend. I did date a couple of Irish girls. They were fun. $495 in the chat. 481 now. The way on this vid, still watch your lives, but are too late for me. It says Crispy Bacon. I know you're doing these blind, Jason, but what do you think of that old Overhaul 10 cast strength rye? I think it's a total hitter. Cam, I agree with you. It is a hitter, and I'm curious how it's doing here. It's in the mix tonight, as you can see over here on the list. I don't know how it's going to do, but I think it is a hitter. I just don't know where it's going to fall in here. That's why, on its own, I think it's a very sweet, delicious, really good rye whiskey. A total banger. But as far as how it's doing here, I don't know. So I have to pick another 2 in this mix, and this is really tough. This second round of 7, they're all really good. Oh man, 10:51 already. All right, I got to wrap this up. I don't want to rush it, but at the same time, I don't want you guys waiting around too long. I love this one so much. Whatever this is. Oh, it's so good. I'm moving that along. All right, that's top 5. All right, so I got to pick another top here from this group. What's my favorite here? This might have a better finish here. SMK Rye. Would you say that sweeter ryes are made more in line with Maryland rye, and the spicier ones are closer to Pennsylvania rye? I mean, I think that's the general blueprint when you go back in history and you kind of look through how ryes were developed over the years. Pennsylvania ryes were generally seen as a lot spicier than Maryland ryes. But yeah. But now, in today's times, there's so many different blends and finishes. It's hard to really differentiate those two styles. Dad's Hat rye is a very, very strictly Pennsylvania style rye, which I think if you want to try a Pennsylvania style rye, Dad's Hat is a very good way to go. It's going to give you probably the closest thing you're going to have to one of those vintage style rye whiskeys. Maryland style rye kind of has the sweet and the spice. Sagamore is a great, indicator for that as well. Man, this is, what the hell did I just sip? That's really good. The bourbon guy. Who is the most famous person you know? That's a good question. This is really good, whatever this is. That might make the other... That might be the third. The most famous person I know. Like on a first name basis? Is that the question? Is that what you're asking? Probably, yeah, probably would be Matt Porter. Probably would be Matt Porter. Bourbon Guy says yes on a first name basis. It would probably be the most famous. That's a good question. I don't know. Do I really know anyone famous? A long time ago, I was on a first name basis with Alicia Keys. I don't know if she's. That was pretty cool. I mean, maybe. I would probably have to go with Nancy Fraley. Maybe Nancy Fraley or Fred Minnick. That might be the two most famous people I'm on first name basis with, to be honest. Yeah, those are probably the two, I would guess. Yeah. Did you get her number? No, I did not get her number. But for a little while, I talked to Alicia Keys. Yeah, a good amount. Yep. No, I worked for someone that had a really good relationship with her, and I would talk to her a lot. So that's really what it was. Yeah. What about Chris Fletcher? Oh, Chris Fletcher's a good one. I'm on a first name basis with him for sure. Chris Fletcher, you could throw in the mix for sure. This is good too. These two are very close. Yeah, these two. So this one is really good. But so is this one here, the first one. It's gonna be between these two, I think. Yeah, this one has the finish. This one has such a stupid long finish, but this one's close too. So I think I'm going to move this one to the top 5. So I think I have my top 5 here, which is awesome. That's where I wanted to get to. Then as we kind of navigate our way through here, I have these other 4 pours here. It's going to be hard to. I'm not going to taste these guys. Man, it's just so much whiskey. This was the ranking for these top 4. Oh, man. I have to say that the second batch, I think, was beyond the first batch of samples that I had here tonight. Mark Wood, if you factor in the value, yeah. So I think that's what we're gonna do. I think we'll reveal the other. Let's see here. So I have 5 here. I have 13 that I tasted total. So we're gonna have basically a top 8 that we have to, or another 8 that we have to kind of navigate through once I reveal and see what those rankings look like. But I will do this. So I have these ranked. Let me rank these. This one's really good. I'll probably put it over that. The last one I remember really liking. Yeah, this one was really good too. So between these two, this one would probably move ahead of that one. So this is my 4 on that ranking. So let's leave those there. And let's get to my top 5. So the top 5 is what I really need to rank. And then we'll reveal and see what happens here. Bo's Wine Guy says, this code nonsense had me go down to my storage unit. I have an A22 and an A23. Now I can't sleep. Now I can sleep tonight. That's right. All right, guys. So hopefully this gives you kind of an indication of where I'm at. Just trying to, really just give you an idea here of just where my flavor profile is. It'll be interesting to kind of figure out what these top 5 are. All 5 of these are stellar rye whiskeys. All right, I'm gonna have a couple sips of water here. Then we'll taste through these once. I'll rank them, and then we'll do the reveal. Then we'll call it a night. And then I won't see you guys till next year, literally. Jason, any plans to break into reviewing more Scotch, Irish, or Japanese whiskeys? John, that was the plan this year, but there were so many freaking bourbons that released. It was really tough to, even get to them. I think what I want to do is more spotlights on some of the Scotches that I love and the brands. I did that this year with the Talisker video. If you guys didn't catch that video, I love Talisker. I love a lot of the stuff that they do. I love the coastal, the salty and the sweet type vibes that they give. So I might do more of that, kind of a distillery highlight more than just, random reviews. So I feel like going into the history and talking about that is what people value most when they, watch the channel. So. This one is stupid good. I remember this from just tasting it. That is really good whiskey. Let's go to number 2 here. Man, this one is right with it. Wow. This is tough. The first 2 here are just incredible rye whiskeys. They both have balance. They both have different flavors that kind of pop off here and there. Let's go to number 3. God, such good balance here as well. Not as impactful as the first 2, but very, very good. So number 4 here. While balanced and amazing, this doesn't have the richness that the first 3 have. So I still feel like the first 3 are in the lead here. And this is the last one that I chose. And I really just picked this because there's so much citrus and so much spice and balance to it that it really impressed me. So I think, man, this might be in the order I want it. The only questionable here are the top 3. These are going to stay. This one is so good. What the hell is that? And then this one, which I really love as well. This one has everything. I can't. This is my number 1, whatever the hell it is. It is so good. Oh my God. The flavors, the depth. I mean, shit. That's really good. Bunnahabhain, 12-year cask strength. It's probably one of my favorite scotches in a long time. 503 people watching in the chat. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. It's time to do the reveal. You guys are here all just in time. So here we go. So I'm going to put these aside. This is my ranking, just as it is. I'm going to leave that be. So we're going to do the first group of samples that I put aside. So if you guys were watching from the beginning, the first group of samples were 6 samples. I picked the top 2, and I put aside the first 4. However, I did rank those. So let's find out what these are. Now, as far as how they go with the other 4, we'll kind of factor in value, and we'll kind of look at, you know, the prices and availability, and maybe we'll switch some stuff around. But let's go from here. So here are the results. This is my favorite part of the show. Here we go, guys. Let's get into it. It's upside down. All right, so this one in the first group was my last place one. Let's see here. Oh, Mike Ives with a $20 super chat. Been playing a long time with my picks. Sagamore 8-year, Baking Spice and Cinnamon #2, Barrel Spirits Rye #4, Jack Daniel's Single Bar Barrel Proof, Redwood Empire Emerald Giant, Alberta Cask Strength. Which barrel #4 was in your blind? Love the Advent, says Mike Ives. Dude, you have some hitters in there. The Redwood Empire Emerald Giant Cask Strength. You know what? I should have put that in here because that probably would have made some noise maybe. Was that this year? My God, so much shit dropped for sure. That's a great blind though. The Emerald Giant is really good. Damn it, I'm kind of pissed I didn't remember to put that in. You know what? What I'll do is I will once I reveal the top 5, I'll grab the Emerald Giant Cask Strength and I will compare it and see how it would have fared, just to be fair. Because if that actually does come in at a point where it can go against the top 5, then I will give it a nod. So, but let's see what these were first. So, out of the first blind that I did, the top 5 here, or I should say the bottom 4, because I already took the first 2, took them out. Let's see what this one is. This is letter L. Letter L belongs to the Bardstown Origins Rye. So Bardstown Origins Rye comes in at the, I guess the, I'm not really sure exactly of the, that might get a higher nod because of the value of it at $60. So Bardstown Origins Rye. Next up is letter A, which is the Old Ezra 7-year. This is a bottle I don't think enough people appreciated. And that is the, where is it? This bottle right here. This is a really good rye whiskey. And I feel like if you guys did not get the Parker's Heritage, this is a nice little alternative. Old Ezra 7-year. This is a full proof coming in at 114 proof. And this is a really, really good rye for the money. I think it's like, what, $40 for this bottle? This is a really, really good budget cask strength rye whiskey. I think you go right up against Pikesville, which is also Heaven Hill. But it does have a very different profile from Heaven Hill. So yeah. Let's go to the next one here is letter B. Wow. Interesting. This is the Michter's 10-year. The Michter's 10-year is oh, Grinch has got it. Michter's 10-year. Michter's 10-year is one of those rye whiskeys I say all the time that it's probably better on its own because it's such a low proof. But on the surface, if you just try it to enjoy it, it is so stupid good. But yeah, it's a lower proof and it just doesn't hold up in blinds. But it's one of those rye whiskeys that you just have to enjoy on its own. Terrence McDermott, it's 70 to 80 by you? Holy shit. That's crazy. All right. Last one in this mix is letter K, which is the, Buzzard's Roost Cigar Blend. So Buzzard's Roost Cigar Blend. This is a very unique blend. Again, this isn't probably everyone's, everyone's bag. This is you kind of have to like tobacco and cigar leaves to really enjoy this one. I really, really love this rye. It's different, it's unique, it's flavorful, but you have to love tobacco. You have to love those rye spices and the tobacco forwardness of it to really enjoy this rye. So, interesting. Okay. So we have some hitters coming kind of off the list here. So we have Michter's 10-year. We have the, let's see here. So Michter's 10-year, Old Ezra. Let's see, what else? Buzzard Roost and the Bardstown. All right, let's go to the next four that we took out. Yeah, Drums and Drams, I agree, man. That Buzzard's Roost cigar blend, for how different it is and how unique, is delicious. It's one of those pours where you could just really sit back, enjoy it, especially with a cigar. I mean, I know it sounds pretty, that's kind of a given, but if you guys knew the process, I happen to know the process of how they make that whiskey. I can't reveal it. However, if you love cigars, that Buzzard Roost cigar blend is stellar. So the fact that it kind of made it in the top tier of kind of like the lower proof or the lower ryes that we selected here, it's no surprise to me. So, all right, let's go to the next round. So this was the second round of 7, the 4 that were eliminated. So this goes to letter G. Letter G is the, wow. Letter G goes to the Old Overholt 10-year. Old Overholt 10-year gets letter G, which I actually think is better than the other 4 that I just mentioned. I think this is a very, very silent killer for a rye whiskey. The one thing I would say is that the Old Overholt just doesn't have the depth that I would want in a rye whiskey that these had. Yeah, it's great at high proof, it's great at cast strength, but it doesn't have a ton of depth. So, but for what it is, it's a really good rye. So there you go. Next one up is the letter I, and that belongs to, no surprise, Jack Daniel's single barrel proof. This I would probably move up in the list just because it's such a good value. So once I kind of go through these tastings again, guys, I will release the list on Instagram and kind of release my final list once I figure out the prices for some of these. But this one, again, these are single barrels, and if you guys have watched my channel, you guys know that this single barrel in particular isn't the best, but I've had really good single barrels of this, and for $70, this is a really good rye whiskey. So, but the single barrels are really, there's a lot of variance to it, so it just depends on how lucky you get. So there you go. Above it here, I picked letter F, which is, holy shit, the Angel's Envy cast strength, finished in sauternes and toasted oak casks. I did not really expect it to finish so high, but it really did. I think this has gotten sweeter over time. This isn't the general rum finish that you get with Angel's Envy. This is a really nice cast strength rye whiskey. Unfortunately, I think that the price of it digs it down a bit, where the Old Overholt could overtake it based on price alone. So good whiskey, terrible price for it, especially because it's non-age stated. At least the Old Overholt, you get an age statement. So in my mind, the Old Overholt I would probably rank higher than this, just based on value. So there you go. And last but not least, letter C. This goes to, oh man, my favorite, one of my final favorites in this group. The top tier in the kind of ones I eliminated goes to the Bourbon Junkies and their Virtue Essence, which is the barrel number 2. Now, they sourced this rye whiskey, and this is barrel number 2, and it is freaking delicious. So I told Dan and Sean how good this bottle was when I first tried it, and you could see how good it did in this ranking. I mean, it was just on the cusp of making the top 5. So if any of you guys got a chance to get this bottle, this is really good shit. Love it. Can you release 2 lists, one with and one without the value proposition? Absolutely, Ricardo. Can do that. So, yeah, the Bourbon Junkies sourced this rye whiskey. It was one of my favorite because it was just different and funky, and I really enjoyed it. So, now to the top 5. So here we go. Let's cross out what we just found. Nope, those are my notes. So we found the Old Overholt. We found the Jack Daniels. Let's see. We found the Virtue. And holy, there are some really. Oh, and we found the Angel's Envy. There's some interesting bottles in the top 5 here. All right, guys, here we go. 531 in the chat. My top 5 rye whiskeys coming at you right now of 2023. Here we go. Oh, Bourbon Junkies are in the house. Awesome. Funky Junkies. Hey, if that's Dan or Sean, dude, guys, that was an incredible rye whiskey. So that's gonna be high on the list for sure. Thanks for a great year, Jay. You bring a fun and professional platform enjoying whiskey. Most importantly, you've seen to bring together a community, which seems to be part 2 to your authenticity. Thanks so much, Dylan. I appreciate that, man. But Dan and Sean put out an incredible rye whiskey. That was easily one of my favorites, and I knew that was going to be in the running this year. So here we go. The Bourbon Guy, Sagamore Double Oak. I had mentioned last year. Remember that was an older release. These are kind of the newer releases we got to try for this year. So, honestly, honored you thought to even put in the competition. Cheers, buddy. Have a damn good New Year's. Hell yeah, Dan. I thought it was that good. It needed to be mentioned. So, there you go, man. And Dan, you know, if I'm nothing but honest, so I'm not gonna fuck around just to put it in there. I just really thought it was a good rye. It was a different, funky rye whiskey, so I loved it. So. All right, here we go. Top 5. Number 5 goes to letter J, which belongs to. There you go. Where are you? Hard Truth, Sweet Mash Rye gets number 5 of 2023. Guys, if none of you have tried Hard Truth Sweet Mash Rye, it is absolutely delicious. The spice, the citrus, the balance. This is the one that I called out as having such a really, really good balance as far as citrus, as far as spice, everything. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, listen, this is going to be the question I get, but you guys have to remember, I don't have a great barrel of the Jack Daniel's single barrel proof. However, in the rankings, the final rankings, it will probably move up because I've had very good Jack Daniel's single barrel proof bottles that people have sent me samples of. I even just got to do a couple of picks of some that taste vastly better than the bottle that I have. So it's just a matter of those single barrel variances that you get with Jack Daniel's. I'll probably put it higher than it is, but honestly, The bottle I have just isn't up to snuff, man. All right. Let's go to number 4. Letter M goes to, speaking of Jack Daniels, Jack Daniels Twice Barreled Rye. Jack Daniels Twice Barreled Rye. It is dark. It is delicious. It is chocolatey. It is a little bit coffee. It is so good. This is my number 4 rye of the year right here, guys. Maybe the proof hurt this one a little bit because it does come down a little bit in proof. It is so damn good. It comes in at 100 proof only. But I think actually that goes to show you how good this bottle is, because when you talk about only being 100 proof but delivering that flavor that it has is incredible. So there you go. Number 3. We're getting down to it, guys. Letter D goes to, oh, this is a surprise. The Michter's Toasted Rye for 2023 gets number 3. That means the 2 bottles that are left here are Corbin Cash and the Sagamore 8-year, which I'm not going to say those were on my list to make the top 5, but here they are. So Jack Daniel's toasted finish, barrel strength for 2023 gets number 3 on the list, and it's no surprise. It's a fantastic whiskey this year. It's dense, it's dark, it's not overly sweet, it's not overly spicy. It is really, really good. So here we go. Last 2. Letter H and letter E. Letter H belongs to... Oh, man. This makes me so happy right now. Ladies and gentlemen, my rye whiskey of 2023 from the Mash and Drum belongs to the one and only Sagamore Spirit 8-year, which is no surprise. I love it so much. I didn't see it actually going anywhere else. The Corbin Cash, though, gave it a run for its money. This Corbin Cash 7-year, it's different, it's funky, it's flavorful, and this thing made a run. But the Sagamore 8-year rye whiskey ultimately became my rye whiskey of the year. So congratulations to Sagamore Spirit. Love Sagamore. All the things that they do. This Sagamore 8-year, the day I tasted it, I said it's going to be really hard pressed for anyone to beat that rye whiskey. The Corbin Cash came close, I think, just based on proof. But if you have never heard of Corbin Cash, it is an unbelievably good rye whiskey. It's out of California. They're small. But if you love rye, try Corbin Cash immediately. Sagamore Spirit, unbelievably good. So just to guys to give you the stats, this, in my blind, was batch 2A. 2A, okay? 111.4 proof. So here are my top 5. We'll bring it in here. Let's see here. Michter's. You have the twice barreled rye from Jack. What was the other one here? Which was the... Yeah, I got that one. H is... Oh, wait, what is that one? Oh, that's J. What is J? J. Oh, it's the Hard Truth. So here are my top 5 of the year, guys. Sagamore Spirit 8-year-old, Corbin Cash, Michter's Toasted Rye, Jack Daniel's Twice Barreled, and Hard Truth. Not only are these unbelievably stellar whiskeys, guys, the rest on the list, the Virtue Spirits Essence, which we just talked about for the bourbon junkies, I mean, that's going to be high up on the list. That might make number 6 or number 7. Absolutely delicious rye whiskey. I mean, the Michter's 10-year was in there. The Old Overholt probably just getting close based on value. Old Ezra 7, Buzzards Roost Cigar Rye. This was a hell of a year for rye whiskey. but these are my top 5. You guys will see a post tomorrow on Instagram on all these great rye whiskeys that you can hopefully chase and hopefully get. Unbelievably good stuff. So, yeah. Hell of a night, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was unbelievably good. Yeah, not everything here is totally allocated. Some of this stuff is doable to find, especially the hard truth. Corbin Cash really depends on where you are. Michter's Toasted is always going to be hard to find. Jack Daniel's Twice Barreled is probably gone, unfortunately, right now. But, yeah. And if you have to find, I know Cigar Rye from Buzzard's Roost is sitting on shelves. I'm not really sure what the Bourbon Junkies have in mind for their next rye releases, but that thing was really, really good. Bardstown Bourbon Company Origin Series are sitting on shelves. All of these are really, really good whiskeys. So I will post the final results here on online tomorrow on Instagram and on my channel. So, guys, thanks so much for hanging out tonight. Merry Christmas if I didn't say it already. I think I did. But thanks for hanging out tonight. This was a lot of fun. Got to try 13 just especially really good rye whiskeys. All of these are worth picking up. And if I haven't said it enough already, love you guys. Thanks for the support. And as I always say, it's not about the whiskey. It's the people you share it with. Cheers. I will see you next week right here on the Master Drum. Hopefully, we will get to that next round of blend again next week. So cheers, and I will see you then. Take care, everybody.